Calling all surfers for another surf report. This one begging for all the Aquarians to come together in the collective mind as we get ready for a mega Aquarian week from January 19th to January 25th, 2023, just before the next big birthday. Let's get started. And if you notice, look down. We have a visitor here. Angie's with us in the house. So just so you know, we're trying to integrate Angie into the surf report. So the first step is for me to get the technology down to be able to do that. That cost us about a couple hours so far today. The next thing is to get Angie accustomed to the style, the process. And then we're going to slowly bring in, as it makes sense, her insights in each report. So she may or may not have anything to say today, and that's okay. We just want to make her feel welcome and safe and comfortable. Here's our influence slide. And what we do, and you know what, because I had to reset the computer so many times, I forgot to do the focus on the cursor. So we do astrology here, and that's the biggest circle. This is our influence triangulation. And it's really important for us because the concept of this report is to get you the biggest emotion or the biggest feeling or the biggest influence to what to be looking for on of all the collective energies. We triangulate and go, we think it's going to be a mental strain this week. All right. So that's what to look out for. And we're going to do the same process for the solution. So the behavior, the action, that's towards the end. But for now, I want to get you accustomed to the energies of this week. And we have the astrology. So that's a big one. We got the sun switching signs going into Aquarius, followed by a real quick new moon in Aquarius, and that's trine and sextile to another couple things that we'll talk about. We have Venus and Saturn going in a conjunction, and that's really going to minimize relationship. It's like a limits on relationship, hardship on relationships. It's going to really influence us to be good with ourselves, find our individual happiness. And then we have all planets going direct because the last of the retrograde, Uranus, is going to go right smack in the dab in the middle of this surf week, is going to go station, stop momentum, and then start moving direct. I'm almost predicting a more technology disruption around that period. So we'll get into that as we flow through the astrology. And then we have the dream body. Now, this one's really interesting. We have staying or leaving. It's a question mark. So there's movement, there's travel. But we have both of those, staying and leaving in the bot run. So it can't, can't really decide which one those is. And then, or I don't know if I did the proper English there, but whatever. And vivid descriptors. And then the I-Ching, Hexagram 50, is the cauldron. Almost sound to me like a boiling water, but in reality, if you read the hexagram, it's a lot more about finding rejuvenation. And I think this makes sense based on that rising yang energy from last week, the rising phoenix, and all this hoopla and big energies. And now, since it's still kind of up there, we flow right into the mind and the mental realm, and it's still big energy. So I think a lot of us are going to be clamoring for just resting, relaxing the body, maybe letting the mind wander. That's kind of the yearning there. And there's a lot of the astrology alignments that will play off of that. So in the world of Aquarius, mental strain is a big one, but this one's more of a continuum because as we get through the strain, the pressure of thinking, all the things that we consider and contextualizing and gestating what we're trying to create into the future and get and sort of fixated on it because it's a fixed sign of Aquarius. And that's important, by the way. We'll get into that in the astrology. But after that strain and resolving and that mental clarity starts to come out, and that's the special gift of the Aquarian. And so anyway, that's our overview. Any additions, Angie? Anything misspeaks?
No, but it's very interesting, and some of the things that I've been deep diving into, it lines right up with some numerology things. So yeah.
Right on. Yeah. You ready to get started?
Sure.
Let's do it. All right. And have you subscribed yet to the National Dream Center YouTube page? Welcome to all you new folks. It's just a big heartwarming gratitude to see you here, and hopefully you enjoy the content. I know it can be difficult and there's a lot of complexities in it, but I think once you get the process down, hopefully it simplifies what to look for during the week, and hopefully simplifies what you remember about what you need to focus on doing to maximize the energies. So with that being said, our winner each week we have a comments winner, and so the best comment is determined by how many likes are associated with that comment, and the winner is Jeremy Wales. Big shout out. Says, I'm a Capricorn, a fellow Capricorn to Angie, by the way. Similar or the same birthdays as I read some of the comments. So happy birthday to Jeremy as well. And he says, I've read to be careful to try and keep from arguing with anyone. I went outside last night. My clear audience in my right ear was definitely apparent. I feel pretty relaxed in the flow. However, lucid dreaming, definitely. It was apparent with the full moon. Thank you. Thank you for your comment and for your experience. It validates or invalidates the previous CIRF report energies so that we can gain some precision and more accuracy. But big shout out to Jeremy. Congratulations. And what we do here is go look at the DreamBot. DreamBot, if you're new, is the little bot goes out on the web and looks for dreams. And in those dreams, we can kind of figure out, this is the big subconscious that Carl Jung was talking about, the collective unconscious. And it helps us to figure out where we're being steered to and what we're creating in this world. And so in this particular dream bot, the top word is dirty. And these black arrows are very descriptive words. Like I want to say vivid. It's like a vividness in the collective unconscious. And that's important. So we're seeing more, we're more aware, and we're describing more. And those things seem to be bigger, brighter, more exaggerated. And that matches that rising phoenix from last week. So it all sort of makes sense, but dirty is the top word, and then we have like tall and very and nice, heavy. So just descriptors in general. And then the red arrows is probably the most significant meme this week. It's, do I stay or go? In fact, the word staying and the word leaving are both there, or leave, I guess, if I look at it real quick. Leaving. So it's staying or leaving. And maybe there's confusion there, or maybe we're just traveling. Maybe we are trying to figure out where the best place is for us. I see a lot of migration patterns here. I also see a lot of, well, just within the continental United States, a lot of migration patterns. Then I have a couple of linguistic sets that I thought were interesting. Number one, at the top, it says dirty restaurant staying 2023. That one confused me, but it seemed like it might be important, so I put that in there. And then the next one is nice view leaving area. And that kind of speaks to that migration pattern, people not being settled, thinking that maybe grass is greener kind of thing. Or also, I've got to get out of here and I'm being called to go somewhere else. are seeing a lot of immigration into this particular area where we are. All right. And let's get into the astrology. Here is our overview chart. Now, I don't want to spend too much time here because we're going to go day by day, but just the big highlights. Uranus going station and direct, smack dab in the middle. We've got Sun going into Aquarius and followed by a new moon within a day. The Sun-Pluto conjunction has just finished. I'm going to darken this up a little bit. And so that was that rising Phoenix thing. We're right on the climax of that. If you're seeing this on, the 18th of January, this is kind of the big finale. And on the back side of these tends to be that, oh, I see that this is the beginning, not the end of the Pluto conjunction. Poor little ego got decimated in that. Hopefully not too bad. And then a few other alignments that we'll talk about. All right, here we go. Day by day, Thursday, the 19th of January. Where do we begin? I think just to get this out of the way, I already covered the Sun and Pluto. This is a whole new you. This is our annual new you as the Sun passes Pluto about once a year. And then we have Venus and Saturn coming together. We're about a little inside 4 degrees away. So this is going to get tighter as we go through the week. And that puts a hardship or limits on how we can relate to others, maybe a limit on peace, harmony. And then on top of that, Venus has a square over to Uranus. So Uranus, as you know, is very important in the world of Aquarius and is now conflicted back home. So this puts a lot of pressure on Venus to be, a lot more Aquarian. So want to be my own individual. It's kind of ironic for the relationship archetype to want to be individual and freedom, maybe a little rebellious. So there's a pressure to do that. And so now diminished relationships pressures us to feel more comfortable in our individuality. And that is a big theme as we go across the board throughout the week, is just more and more Aquarius, more and more mental. And those two do definitely overlap quite a bit. So then the next mental thing is we got Mercury trine to Uranus. And that's going to get stronger throughout the week. We're going to cover that a little bit later, but significantly tighter. This one perfects today, which is Mercury in conjunct Mars. Now, as you notice, Mercury obviously associated with the mind, communication, and learning, and Mars not so much, but Mars is in Gemini. So right back to Mercury's home. And so it makes the yang or the doing, the ability to get stuff done, that's Mars, is in the territory of Gemini, which is much more mental. There's other things like friendly and learning, but it makes it mental over here and mental over here. The Mercury over here in Capricorn is now direct and is thinking about getting stuff done. Maybe a little skittish about starting. That's a normal thing for Capricorn, to have a few fears and anxieties before beginning. Fear of failure, or fear of whatever, fear of not having enough resources. But it's trine, so it's easy. Oh, I'm over here. It's an inconjunct, so it's adapting to each other, which is kind of the same. It's the sets the stage for the week, the goal-oriented mind, and the significant mental yang, and they're adjusting to each other. That's the inconjunct. So it's kind of the same context, goal-oriented mind, and doing and moving forward and getting stuff done in mind. So it's extra mental, and those two very similar things are are adjusting to each other. It's almost like a group think. If you think about it, it's two sides of the same coin, just feedback looping each other. So you maybe feel a little overconfident in some things that you're trying to do, which could be a good thing for you. But over and or exaggerated on anything is normally creating problems. Friday, the 20th. Now the sun has gone into Aquarius. I don't have the exact time for you. But interestingly, both of these squares, which are aging out, are very supportive. Again, we already talked about supportive of the Aquarius, the growing Aquarian feel here. And we've already talked about why that is for Venus and Uranus. And we haven't covered the last of Mercury and Jupiter, and that's in a square. So what this does is the pressure to complete mind, Mercury representing the lower mind, the learning mind, more childlike mind, developing mind, and Jupiter's more of the advanced, transcendent, philosophical part of the brain, the higher level philosophy, maybe spirituality, maybe even religion, but your place in the world, existential concerns. And so there's a pressure between the two, which is not a bad thing. This is the pressure to complete mind, to have the big picture of everything. So this is just more mind stuff, even though it's aging, it's there. And it's supportive of the Aquarian energies. And then this little gem here. So I first want to point you down to the fact that Sun and Sun and Mercury are parallel. And so what that does is put an extra intensity on mind. So there's a weak ego. So that already puts more pressure on mind because when mind or brain feels like it's out of control or weakened in any way, there's a greater sense of threat to it. So the mind is going to start spinning and start problem solving, even though there may not be a real problem there. It's a perceived problem. So that's what you're probably going to feel is an overactive mind, just from the standpoint of Sun in Aquarius, because ego is weakened. And when ego is weakened, that doesn't necessarily have to be a problem, but could be perceived as more vulnerable to ego. And we know what happens when ego feels more vulnerable. We just start controlling things, and there is natural overactive mind. But the Sun, the weakened ego, is parallel with Mercury. So that makes this whole thing even much more intense. All right, I want to point that out. Then there's this little gem here that's going to be here all week, I believe, or most of the week, is Sun sextile Jupiter. And this makes it a real positive spin, especially when we get into the new moon tomorrow. We are looking at, may not be tomorrow. Yes, it is tomorrow. We are looking at a real positive opportunity because Jupiter represents optimism and good things, synchronicities, luck. Good luck is an opportunity here for the weakened ego. So the point here is, as ego has finished its big transformation, is now just immediately going into more of a humbled state with Aquarius. It's going to represent a big opportunity, and it's just to let things lie, let life happen. It doesn't mean do nothing. There's a lot of alignment here that produce some good, wholesome yang energy to get doing stuff, but it means don't fight so much. Especially don't fight a weakened ego. All right. And when you let things happen, let life unfold, you're going to create some really great synchronicities across the board in all of your spheres of life. Okay. And that speaks to the cauldron, right? The rejuvenation. This allows your ego to not have to worry. It feels a little bit weakened and vulnerable, but don't worry. Things are going to be just fine. All right. And we get into Saturday, the 21st of January. This is our new moon at 1 degree Aquarius, 33 minutes. And as a little aside, I went into my software and, of course, relearning some of the core astrology traits, such as the new moons, as we go along throughout the year, are actually receding back and smaller and smaller increments. So the next one in Pisces, I think, is either 1 degree or 0 degrees. And then you get into Aries, it's like right there on the cusp, which means once we get into Aries new moon this year in March and April, you're going to have 2 new moons in Aries right in a row. And the second one is a total solar eclipse. So exciting stuff for you Aries folks. But for now, Saturday the 21st, we're starting to see a lot more air signs. That's 5 air signs, or 5 planets in air signs, to be more accurate, and then fixed. Now, as a lot of you know, Aquarius is a fixed sign, but we have more fixed. So like Taurus and Uranus, that makes 5 planets in fixed signs. So we have air, very mental; fixed, very sure, not really adaptable a whole lot; steadfast in what we think we know or what we want to know. And so all those things are pretty rock solid and not movable. There's that strain if you're not used to this. At the time of the new moon, this is 2:53 p.m. on the 21st, and we have 4 planets in Aquarius, and we have a 2-by trine over to Mars we've been talking about before. These are 7 degrees away. Actually, this is different than what we were talking about before. This is a new alignment right at the time of the new moon, a double trine, so easy to carry things out. A new lunar phase of air. We already talked about how Mars is in a very air mental Gemini. So this lunar phase, this Aquarian lunar phase, roughly 30 days, is all about air, mental knowledge. Disclosure is something that is in the archetype of Aquarius. And it's by easy, strong mental fortitude. That is the Mars in Gemini. It's mental fortitude to be able to keep hanging on, keep being able to push forward, not being so afraid of fearing failure or whatnot. It's all this air sign is fixed. And then we have the lunar cycle is very positive because we have that Jupiter sextile, and it's a double sextile, obviously, with the conjunction of the sun and the moon. Moon can't be seen in the sky at this time because it's new, starting over, fresh. And it's a nice, refreshing time, too, because the sun has just completed its transformation. So nice kind of whitewashed ego. It's humbled, not too strong, and that gives us special gifts, especially the mind. If you know how to orchestrate the thinking, knowing how to stay aware of your thinking, not judging it, but just aware of what those thoughts are, can really be a powerhouse to 5 air signs, 5 fixed. And Sunday, pretty much the same. Not a whole lot of changes there. Still 5 and 5, air and fixed. And Monday, the 23rd now, at 4:58 Central Time, you have Uranus stationing, starting. The station starts now. Station is where it just kind of freezes apparent to Earth. So it doesn't appear to be moving. It'll be at 14 degrees, 56 minutes of Taurus. And it'll stay there for a period of time before it starts moving apparent to Earth. And then this is where Venus and Saturn have gone exact. exact conjunction. So this is the climax of this hardship or limitation on how to relate to others, or maybe willingness to relate to others, or maybe the stronger desire for peace might be in there. And let's see, 9 and 14. So we're about 5 degrees on this Mercury trine Uranus. Easy to change your mind about practical matters. These are in earth signs. So easy to change your mind about the real world. Could also be the rebel thinker. This is the alignment. It's easy to think differently than the rest, to be unique in how you think. We'll talk some more about these archetypes too as we go along. And Tuesday, 9:41 a.m. Central. This is where Uranus is starting direct. So it's starting to move 57 minutes there. So now we have all planets on within one half of the zodiac. If you notice that makes for a real kind of lopsided turn. Have you ever turned maybe a wheel that's weighted on one side? Well, that's kind of what we've got going here, where it's kind of unbalanced. But the neat thing is that all planets are moving direct in relation to us. And we have more Mercury. This is becoming more and more prominent. Mercury trine Uranus, mental individualism. But there's insights here. So we could have inventions. This could be one of the possible alignments in a natal chart for inventions. I've found that the square, the pressure, if you had Mercury square Uranus together in a natal chart, that's much more of a powerful, life-changing inventions. But this one's good too. It's easy to conceptualize. The only difference is there's not a lot of pressure to do it. So it's just there. And you have to kind of purposely remember to tap into it if you're going to use it. And then lastly, Wednesday, the 25th, we have Sun and Mars still about 4 degrees away from an easy trine. We only have one square left. We have our 2 sextiles that are aging out. So everything's just kind of lightening up. And then that'll kind of set us up for another couple of weeks. If you didn't see our live show, here's a bonus chart. Yeah, this is not in our CIRF report, but this is where it's heading. So you can see the squares aging out, the sextiles aging out, the inconjunct. It's left with just some easy energy trines. And within 2 weeks, on February 14th, Valentine's Day, by then you will have no squares. Isn't that neat, huh? Any comments, Angie? You notice anything?
Yeah, a few things. I didn't know whether to chime in ahead of time or anything, but I'd like to talk about some stuff about the moon. You know, that's
do you need a specific day to talk off of? Or
the new moon, you know? Yeah.
Ah.
And the number, 1 degree. There we go.
There we go.
And 1 degree and 33. So the moon is my thing. I am a moon goddess. And so I took the numbers there and what we are in relation to numerology. And the number 1, you know, it is equivalent to the Aries energy, very much so. It is the father of numerology. And it's about action, initiation, going forward, motion, you know, pioneering things. But at the time, the new moon, I mean, is a lot more pull, actually, than the full moon. So this is a really great time to be thinking about those things. And that cauldron effect, too, is what do you got in your pot? What did you put into that pot before you know, to the phoenix that's rising out of this pot? What did you put into this pot before? And it's raw energy. It's very masculine. But on the other hand, you know, it can be very dominating, very arrogant.
Yeah, fixed air.
Yeah. So it has a tendency of being single-minded.
Yeah.
On
Fixated on how I'm right or how much I know.
Yeah. And so it is the beginning, always the new beginning of everything. But and you're so focused, so structured on that me mind and what I have concocted and stuff that that can get in the way. But then you got, on the other hand, the 33. 3, when they come in multiple numbers, is much more significant. 3s are angelic numbers, and but in numerology, we're just sticking with the number 3, and then you multiply it by 2. So that, on the other hand, is the child, and it is connected to the ascending masters. So when you think about the number 3, you think about a child and its development stages, and how it's the essence of creation. There's motivation, innovation. You think of this child who's learning things, and they never stop. They don't give up. And but on the other hand, they can be very stubborn at it. They can't speak, so you don't know what to do with the actions, and they can be repressive and moody and stubborn at times. So it's very, infantile. So it's kind of the opposite of the 1 degree. And then you have the 3, which is doubled. So there's a lot of optimism. There's a lot of joy. They think about a baby too, what it gives you, puts a smile on your face. You see the baby, and it's about manifesting things. So, just to be.
And curiosity.
Absolutely. Lots of curiosity. So it's the focus, peace, clarity, being very clear about what you are putting into this cauldron pot, what you're developing, and what you're offering for the moon to take that. And
I could feel that, having been, Aquarius, and getting to know what that really is. That sun is really special. The sun in Aquarius, because it is in a very weakened state. But that can be a really big advantage. If you don't know that, it can feel scary.
Yeah.
It can feel really vulnerable. But that's a kid too. Kid can get scared easy. So it's a kid kind of a.
But yet they're
alignment.
not scared,
Right.
Yeah. They'll do it again. You tell them, no, don't touch that. It's hot. You got to figure it out yourself, but.
Look, 33 minutes.
Oh, yeah. I'm a big 3 person. I love the numbers 1 and 3. So, and then on the. Yeah, sorry. And.
There.
I just wanted to influence too, like a lot of this for me. This is a new beginning for me. So I've been dealing with the fears and
yes,
the
she has. Yes, she has.
Yeah, and trying to go at it and go at messy, be childlike. A Capricorn in me likes to just know it all, and if I don't know it all, don't like to do it. But I will. I will if I'm thrown into it.
Kind of learn faster when you make those early mistakes, and just not being so afraid of making a mistake or perfectionism.
That's the ego.
Instead, yeah. Well, it's this weakened ego might help us.
Yeah.
And just be humble and just go about doing the thing that you need to be doing. We're going to get into that for the solution, but is there anything else?
That's good.
Awesome stuff. Thank you. All right. The Cauldron. Let's get to know Hexagram 50, because this completes our influence. And this is the I-Ching. It says the cauldron symbolizes nourishment and rejuvenation. I was thinking of more of like the boiling water and the cooking and the stew and that kind of stuff. But it's the nutrients that's within it that you're creating, but it's also getting whole again. The rejuvenation part's a big deal. Rejuvenation is a returning to one's natural desires and the recharging of batteries that comes from making progress towards one's aspirations. Rejuvenation means that people in honorable pursuit of their dreams are properly nourished and valued. And we always do our change lines. If you are virtuous as you nurture your unique talents, you will succeed. Even if you are in a humble position at the time, which I would suggest all of us are. With the sun in Aquarius, our egos are humbled. Cleanse yourself of unbecoming traits such as pride and excessive concerns about money, and be open-minded to other people even when their worst traits are showing. They may have something to teach you. That's Venus and Saturn together. That's what we can learn is, especially in Aquarius. This is happening in Aquarius. So we are going to see some differences, but we're going to honor those differences and be taught at the same time and learn from others. Anything else for the influence, Ange?
Well, again, that cauldron thing was, when you first looked at it, you thought of it as a kind of a bad thing, but that's what society has done to so many words. It's changed it, so it is. Cauldron is not the wicked witch, stirring up a batch of poison. It's used for so many other things, and so again, I'm referring back to think about what you're putting into your pot. What are you cooking? It's
a good question.
Yeah.
All right, let's do the solution now. We're switching over to starting our triangulation towards what is it that we need to do this week to maximize all that we talked about in the influence. Well, 14, when you make the change lines, it's hexagram 14, which is affluence. It means supreme success. When I read that and circled it, I was immediately thinking of the sextile for the sun and Jupiter. Jupiter just is that big success, optimistic planet. Along with any accumulation of wealth or influence can come an increase of pride and arrogance. Fight this tendency if you want your good fortune to continue. So stay humbled even when success is happening. And I want to hammer that home. This is a foot stomper. When success is happening at the early onset of this week, fight the urge to be arrogant, prideful, because sun still is in Aquarius. Stay attentive enough to manage your affairs. A lasting prosperity is one that honors the highest values and furthers the collective good. Hello, Aquarius. All right, then we put our tropical new moon in Aquarius into our conversion chart, and you get hexagram 60. Again, have you guys been paying attention to the rave? So we got another hexagram 60 or gate 60, and we have Sagittarius. Sidereal solution. So first is hexagram 60. The acceptance of limitation is the first step in transcendence. You probably have that memorized by now, huh? So rigidity, line 6, rigidity, the intuitive intellect to recognize when absolute rigidity is essential, but with innovative applications to lessen its severity. A fixed energy that is unusual in its capacity for restraint. That's not so easy of a topic. You want to do our ad before we get to the final solution slide? I'm throwing this on you.
Yeah. Oh, no. Oh. didn't know what you were getting at there. So I'm going to let you take it over.
All right. Well, if you want inner peace, a great place to go is intervention therapy and look at some of the services that we have to offer. All right. And I should have gotten this ready, but I didn't. All right. Here's our overview slideshow. The big mental and Aquarian energy this week, supported even by some conflicted and pressured alignments. New moon in Aquarius leads the mental charge. Air sign natals will feel right at home and energized by the week, while other elemental signs might get quite drained from the influence. To think, assimilate, conceptualize, gestate, learn, disclose, and the pressure to know. So that's the strain. The mental strain is so common with, well, Mercury, but more importantly, Aquarius, and that desire for clarity. So heavy mental week. Now, here's our solution. Shrink that just a nudge. All right, remember affluence. This is I-Ching. Use the success momentum. Fixed energy this week means you need to start the week with small successes, and the universe will perpetuate it. Success begets success. We'll talk about that a little bit. And then the rave is that same limitation and rigidity. That's the fixed signs. So you don't fight the fixed signs, all right? Recognize when rigidity is essential, but with innovative applications. So let's use the Uranus insights. Uranus trine Mercury, using the insights and quickly assimilate new things, quickly make your changes. And then Sidereal Sagittarius, there is not a better sign for seizing opportunities and being optimistic along the way. It's powerful. All right, so how do we triangulate all this together? Here we go. Even if you're not the Aquarian, air, or mental cosmonaut, you still can succeed this week by acting upon this week's triangulation. Don't make it more complex than it really is. By looking at all the influences that we talked about, I could easily start getting concerned that we have so many different poles and energies to grapple with, but simplify it and start with the easiest, quickest, smallest success that is virtually guaranteed. Carry that out early in the week. So as soon as you see this video, I would list out, plan an activity that you can do that is meaningful for you and complete a goal. If the Capricorn fear starts to stop you in your tracks, then make it a smaller goal. The idea is you want to start off this week with a success, an achievement, a goal, because that success will perpetuate. So you start off with something easy, succeed in it, then as you are succeeding, mentally conceptualize some of the keynote reasons for that success, and then affirm your rigid commitment and fixation upon that value or theme or processes, and go about replicating that success into more successes with the Sagittarius archetype. Even though it is fixed in its ways, just like Aquarius, it has the ability to quickly see the new horizon, the new opportunity, the next success. Quickly change course to capitalize on the new venture, but remain fixed on the core value of the previous procedural successes. Did that make sense?
Wow, resonated a lot. Again, and it goes back to, the child that I think they learn one thing at a time. And then I always reference to the movie What About Bob? But baby steps. They learn one thing at a time. I need to do this myself. Something that I learned last night about my hypnotherapy at the same time. But yeah, just one step, baby step at a time. And if you fall down, pick yourself back up. And the only way you're going to become an expert at it is just keep trying. Yeah.
If you could see Angie's outfit, really cute. All right. The quote or the affirmation that I felt compelled to use, really spent a lot of time just really kind of tuning into what it was really needed for this Aquarius energy. And I feel like, quote, I know that I can succeed with the right conceptual formulas. The formulas come easy to me when I step aside and allow them to instruct me. And that well matched by all those astrology alignments that we talked about, including the Jupiter and Sun and the sextile, and especially the Uranus trine Mercury. Both of those together, and then of course all the fixed air sign stuff. It's very mental, but ultimately we're here to get something done, and we want to make sure we're succeeding in not ego stuff. Ego is sort of sacrificed this week. It's about our life purpose. So succeeding in what we need to be succeeding in sometimes can take a whole lot of work, some heavy work, but start off the week with small success, start building yourself up, and then by the end of the week, you might be planning out using the learning that you had in your successes over the week. Before the end of the week, I would look at maybe your 6-month plan, maybe your year-long plan, 5-year plan, and make sure it's all sketched out using the learning opportunities that you had in your successes over the week. All right.
Chime in on that too.
Yeah.
But really connect with the ascending masters. That's something I would put out there, to just really connect to the ascending masters. And you can, sit for a few moments and just ask them to come in and say, I know that I can succeed with the right formulas, but I need to go with the flow, and ask them to instruct you. What is it that I need to be doing right here, right now, to make this work, make this formula work? Just be still for a moment, ask for guidance, and allow it to happen. Go with the flow.
Right on. You going to do a video about that?
I could. They can chime in if people would like. Maybe, a guided connection to your spirit guides or the ascending masters, and let me know if guys would like to have something like that. I can work on that.
Right on. Yeah. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for being here. We feel humbled by your presence, and we'll see you next week.
One last thing.
Sure.
Some things that we talked about that we're going to do at the live that we didn't put questions out there, but just to get some people's feedback. We love to have the interaction. We've become quite a neat little family and stuff. But one thing is what was it that made people push play on you, and to play or subscribe? What was maybe the common niche on people that your followers, have in common, any traits that have in common? But first off, maybe answering the question, what made you push subscribe button to come back, to be notified? And then, what else do you need from us? Is there any needs, things that you're struggling with, your pain, your accomplishments, your desires and stuff? But maybe ask, what do our followers need from us?
Always.
Let's see what we can come up with a solution for that.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Take some thoughts on that as well, and give us some feedback. And have a great week. Have a great mental week with your weak ego. All right. And come back with more successes for your soul and your life path. And we will see you next week. Cheers, everybody.